Will the housing market crash like it did in 2008? There's no shortage of experts these days weighing in with their answers, their predictions. I've even shared my thoughts here once or twice recently, but the question continues to be asked. Well, I've got an updated answer, and it won't take a 10-minute video to give it to you either. Let's go. Hi, my name is Matt Theriault, CEO of Epic Real Estate, where we show people how to invest in real estate so they can escape the daily grind and retire early. And most people like the sound of that. But is this a good time to start your escape? I mean, we're overdue for a crash, aren't we? Should I wait it out? Will the housing market crash like it did in 2008? Those are the questions that are on everyone's mind, and they keep asking. I mean, we can all agree that the housing market right now is hotter than a Vegas parking lot in August. Prices are exploding in both suburban and urban markets across the country. The search terms, should I buy a house and sell my house, are at record highs. It's feeling very 2006 out there. I get it though. I mean, it certainly looks like a bubble. It certainly feels like a bubble, maybe even smells like a bubble. But the market's fundamentals aren't that bubbly. Yes, prices are rising at an astonishing pace, setting records month after month. But there are good reasons for that. And they're not the same reasons for the run-up to 2008. First, the housing inventory hit a record low this month. So despite the mass migration out of the urbs to the burbs, enough people are staying put, or they're opting not to sell their house when they do move, while home builders are struggling with labor and the unprecedented cost and availability of materials. For example, lumber prices are up 232% since the onset of the pandemic. We could hit a new housing inventory low again next month. When supply falls, prices rise. A falling supply was not the issue in 2008. Second, the demand is massive and unrelenting. The lowest mortgage rates in history are attracting buyers in droves, new, repeat, and investors alike to the market. It's the exception when a house hits the market that it doesn't ignite a bidding war. This feels very similar to pre-2008. I was there and in the thick of it, but it wasn't low interest rates creating the demand, but rather the low barrier to entry. As they say, if you could fog a mirror, you could have bought a house. Lenders these days are running a much tighter ship, which has resulted in more credit-worthy homeowners filling the buyer pool. Significantly more. The typical credit score for mortgage borrowers in the second half of last year was 786. That's a record high. On May 4th, 2006, as a comparison, the average FICO score for home buyers was 633. And that was up 33 points from 3 years earlier. Today's mortgagor looks very different. Now, there is one valid concern that everyone's thinking about. The pink elephant in the room, so to speak. What about all of the coming foreclosures? What about all of the people that aren't making their mortgage payments? Well, let's look at that. As of this recording, there are 2.25 million homeowners in forbearance, where the government, per the CARES Act, has mandated lenders to reduce or suspend, per a borrower's request, the payments of government-backed mortgage loans for a set amount of time. The deadline to request forbearance is currently set to expire June 30th. So logic would have you believe that come July, we should start seeing lenders initiate the foreclosure process with their delinquent homeowners, thereby leading to an increase of housing inventory. I mean, you'd think, right? And with 40% of them having not made a mortgage payment in more than 12 months, it's possible we could see a housing market crash within the year. At the very least, a noticeable correction. Unfortunately, there's no real way to tell what these millions of homeowners are going to do when their forbearance plans end. We can, however, look to recent history, very recent history, as an indicator of what the future might hold. Of the cumulative forbearance exits for the period from June 1st, 2020 through April 18th, 2021, 26.9% resulted in a loan deferral or partial claim. So no foreclosures are going to be happening here. And then 25.4% represented borrowers who continued to make their monthly payments during their forbearance period. Those two categories alone add up to more than half of the delinquencies that will not result in a foreclosure. Then 14.6% represented borrowers who did not make all of their monthly payments and exited forbearance without a loss mitigation plan in place yet. So there is potential for foreclosures here. Then 14.4% resulted in reinstatements, in which past due amounts are paid back when exiting forbearance. So you'll see no foreclosures here either. And then 9.6% did result in a loan modification, so no foreclosures here. 7.5% resulted in loans paid off through either a refinance or by selling the home. And considering the appreciation homeowners have experienced over the last 12 months, selling through traditional means is probably their worst case scenario. And when you consider home buyers are going to war over houses, armed with their checkbooks, these sellers are going to land on their feet just fine. The worst case scenario ain't so bad. Now, the remaining 1.6% resulted in repayment plans, short sales, or deed in lieu. So of the homeowners participating in the CARES Act forbearance program, it's within just this 14.6% here where we can potentially see some foreclosure inventory hit the market. Potentially. I wouldn't hold your breath though. Certainly don't buy your movie tickets for Big Short 2, but do expect an affordability crisis if we don't build more homes soon. So what did you learn? What did you notice? Let me know below. And who do you know that needs to see this? When their name comes to mind, please share it with them. Oh, and if you're already subscribed to the channel, I pulled this video out here special for you to watch next. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Take care.